Video guys, there's my video guys. They're up and running. Hey everybody, how you doing? Oh man, it's a manic Monday, and here we are. And why isn't anything working on the radio? Let's see. Are we working on the radio now? Yeah, we're better. There we go. We got our radio guys going. We got our video guys going. We got everything going here on a manic Monday in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Coming to you live from the studios of 4680Q. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is your city, your voice. Oh, yeah, coming to you live. Thanks for tuning in. It's going to be a good show today. We're going all over the place. Got lots of stuff to do on this beautiful day. The weather's finally taking a little turn on the warmer side. Hey, look at no hat. No hat. You know what that means? It starts out over 50. And it's going to go up to 60, I'll bet you, today. It's just gorgeous out there. Yesterday was a beautiful Palm Sunday as we head into the most holy week of the year in the Catholic religion and for Christians everywhere, ending with Good Friday this Friday and culminating with Easter Sunday on Sunday, of course. Lots going on. We have the election in Canada, and two wars going on, tariffs galore, and we'll get into it after I mention my sponsors. And there will be no show on Good Friday. I'm taking Good Friday off. I don't take a lot of days off during the year, but Good Friday is one of them, and there's a couple other holidays that I take off, but Good Friday is going to be one of them. So Friday, if you're tuning in, I won't be here. Let's get to my sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. Now look at this weather. You know, you're going to start driving all over the place, cruising around. You want to make sure your car's running A1, top notch, no fooling around. So where do you got to go? You got to go to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You got to see Ken Hunter. Ken Hunter's going to give you his spring special checkup free. He's going to get your car up, take a look at it, make sure your suspension's good, make sure your brakes are good. He's going to give it the once over, put it on his diagnostic equipment, make sure there's no error codes. And if there is, fix them up, Charlie, because you don't want to be breaking down on the road. You want your car safe. You want to get those winter tires off. You want to get your fluids checked. You want to change your oil. You want to make sure your air conditioning is working. So much to do, not enough time to do it. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. And if you get in a wreck, you know what you do, right? You take your car there. It goes in wrecked. It comes out in showroom condition. That's the way they do it at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Oakwood Drive next to the Kia dealership. Check it out today. Please support our sponsors because they support the show and the city. And also, while you're here, subscribe. It's over on this side, maybe, or that side. Subscribe to the channel. We have 123 subscribers now. We're heading for 150. Come on, let's go. I know a lot of people who watch. We had, 50, 70, 80 views of the video. I know a lot of people who watch don't subscribe. It costs nothing, and it helps the algorithm to get the show out there, get it to more people. The more people see it, the more they subscribe, the more we can spread the word, the conservative word out there, and get things straightened out in this country once and for all. And as we roll through the provincial election, then we roll to the federal election now. And then we're going to roll into the municipal election right here in Niagara Falls, October 2026, a short year and a half away. And we're into our election where we can straighten the city out. And of course, I'm always here talking about Niagara Falls. So, yeah, you got to tune in. Get your friends to tune in. Get everybody to tune in. Let's go. Let's make this a movement. Right, Gary Wilkins? Right. Gary knows. Gary knows. Gary knows. John Ringelbeam knows. We need help. We need help to straighten things out. Interesting day in history today. Yeah. Tonight at 11:40, we are going to mark the 113th anniversary of the Titanic hitting the iceberg. And midnight will mark the last time her triple whistle sounded as she began her journey to the bottom of the Atlantic. A short 2.5 hours after hitting the berg, 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, 1912, She would be gone, taking 1,500 people with her and leaving 700 to tell the tale of that fateful night in the North Atlantic. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Titanic tomorrow. Everybody knows the story, of course. Different theories going on about what really happened to it. We'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. But yeah, today's the day. Today's the day when it was sailing calmly through the North Atlantic and only about a day away from New York, where it was headed on its maiden voyage. And it allegedly cracked into an iceberg and sank. The unsinkable ship sank. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, 113th anniversary. And yeah, sad. Sad, but it's amazing the resilience of the story. It's been told a million times, movies, everything else, so many documentaries I can't even imagine. And one of our hometown boys, James Cameron, who I went to school with, by the way, James Cameron, producer of all the great movies, director of all those great movies, the Terminators, the, what do you call those, Avatar, and the Abyss and everything else. Yeah, he's been down there more times than almost anybody else. Yeah, he's a deep sea diver, and he's been down there, seen it many, many times. Did a documentary about it, made a movie about it. Yeah, it's unbelievable how this legend continues on, even though we know the ending, the sad ending. Okay, let's get to viewer comments. At Penny Brookify, happy 500th, Mr. Lemire. Okay, yeah, that was our 500th show on Friday. If you didn't know it, or I don't know if you knew it or not, but yeah, we did show number 500, our 500th show on Friday. So I have Peter Dichter in the studio celebrating that. I mean, it's a milestone for me, 500 shows. Although, I mean, it's kind of, I've got another 200 in before that and another 127 in with Absolutely on Wednesday. So I'm probably at about 800 shows, 900 now. But still, from this little go at it from I would say September of 2022 when I first started, right after Labor Day. And we talked to everybody because the election was coming up in 2022. 500 shows. Thank you, Penny Brookify. I appreciate that. Habs Life 41. Love the podcast, but I always skip the Ontario talk since I don't live there. Well, Habs Life 41 probably lives in, I don't know where he lives. Maybe Montreal, maybe in Quebec. If not, maybe the West Coast. Who knows? I forgot to ask him. He says, we got to vote out the Liberals. Thanks for tuning in. They're Habs for Life 41. We got to get rid of the Liberals. You're right. I agree. The Liberals have to go this time around. Get out and vote. That's my advice. Get out and vote. A new messenger, a new commentator here at Byron Umphris, 3805. And this is an interesting one. I'm going to have to translate it for you guys, probably, because I didn't get it at first until I really looked at it. KJV Bible, John 14:26. I am going to keep my rat engine. And we were talking about the EVs and how the plants are closing and Ingersoll and that kind of thing. Nobody wants them. So I had to translate that one. And when I translated it, it translated to King James Version of the Bible. John 14:16 is a passage. And it reads, "But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in thy name, will teach you all things and remind you of everything you have said." It alludes to the choice of EV versus gas-powered cars, but the Holy Spirit guiding you to your choice. Very deep, very, very deep. Now, when he mentions the rat engine, well, he's referring to the Chevy Big Block V8, often the 454 cubic inch one. These engines were called rat engines because they were the larger, more powerful counterparts to the Mouse engines, the Chevy small block V8s. What a rat think, Big Daddy. Great comment. Had to translate it, but right there, that was pretty good comment, and I got a kick out of that one. Thank you, Byron Humphreys 3805 for that great comment. At Christopher Penton 3164, another new one. I've never seen this commentator before. I'm a liberal, but I'm voting conservative because I want the liberals to be held to task. Now, this is interesting, right? I'll probably vote liberal again if they restructure and just start from the bottom up again. In other words, he doesn't like what's going on now. He never liked Trudeau. He doesn't like Carney. He wants them to restructure, and then he's going to take a look at them again. I just morally can't ignore what they've done to Canada. And I agree with this at Christopher Penton 3164. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And I wish that more people were critical thinkers like you. You can see the rationale behind not allowing 4 more years of abuse to take place in this country to Canadians. We can't expect the globalists that created this mess in Canada to fix it. No way. There has to be a new way forward and a new perspective to make Canada great again. It starts with a majority conservative win, and people like Christopher Penton 3164, they do what's best for Canada and not align with their party that's destroyed it over 10 years, and put that party and that whole thing behind us, and get rid of the guys who put us behind the 8 ball. Way to go. I commend you. If I had a hat, I tip my hat to you, because that's critical thinking, understanding for the better of Canada. We can't vote liberal. We got to get rid of them. Unbelievable comment. Good for you. The other ones here, I'm rolling through the comments. I had a lot of comments this time. Yeah, there's a lot of people interested in what the heck we're saying, I guess. I don't know. Now we're going to move on to the 881 Slick. I couldn't imagine taking taxpayers' money and having zero pride in the work I do. I hope people pay attention to their tax dollars and how they are spent. And to that, I say, Amen. And he's talking about the picture that he posted on my Doge team, posted about the patch they put down on Simcoe Street and somewhere down here. And what they did was they just rolled over it with the backhoe, and it left big ruts. The big tires on a backhoe, the way they are to get in the mud and that. They just rolled it with that, and it just left big ruts in it and everything else. And it was like, why would they leave it like that? They have equipment that can fix these things and pack it down flat, so when you go over it, it'd be going like this. You'd be going like that, because every time there's a big gouge like that in it from where the tires sink in. I mean, they could have rolled it with the truck. Anything would be better than that. Anything would be better than that. But they just left it like that. So apparently, I think somebody wrote back to Gary and said that they were going to do that. That was just a temporary patch until the hot asphalt plants start up and they can get real asphalt, put it in there, and then roll it down flat. Okay, fine, but they still can do a better job than that. Come on. At Penny Brookify again. I am in the Hatch building 3 days a week. I haven't seen near 2,000 students. Walk in, take a seat on one of the couches in the lobby, open a newspaper, and chill for a while. You'll see for yourself. I am with you, Penny Brookify. I don't see anything like this gaslighting CEO of that University of Niagara Falls and the mayor speak of. And it's funny. We were talking about the University of Niagara Falls and about all these 2,000 students now and blah blah blah. You drive down Queen Street. I drove down again after my show on Friday, and there was nobody. You had maybe 2 people standing around that university. And I drive 2-3 times a week. I go down Park, and then I come up Erie Avenue and come back around to see what's going on. There's no, and I might go in there one day and just sit in the lobby with a newspaper and see what the hell's going on. But what they speak of here, I have no idea. They're saying they notice a difference on Queen Street, everybody walking around and everything. But they closed the cafe right across the street, so I don't see that. And I had another comment. Thank you, Penny Brookify, for that comment. I'm with you. I know what you're talking about. I had another comment. It wasn't on face on the video, but somebody messaged me on Facebook about traffic on Park Street. And they said it's like a racetrack. People roaring up and down Park Street, and they don't stop. And hey, I know what you mean. It was Tyro who sent it to me, And I know what you mean, Tyrone. I know exactly what you're talking about. I sit here for an hour and I watch, and there's people that come flying down Park Street. And you know what? The stop signs here, the four-way stop, you might as well not have it. They just go right through it. Half the people don't stop. They take a look each way and they go. Then they come roaring down from Bridge Street right through that stop sign a lot of times, come blasting up past here. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And there's not a stop, anything to stop traffic from Erie Avenue all the way to Chrysler here, and then on the other side of Chrysler to Victoria Avenue. So it's like a raceway, and these guys don't stop. They just go around the corner. They don't stop for the stop signs. They just come flying down Park Street. So I don't know what the city can do about it, Tyro. I feel your pain. I know what you're talking about, but I don't see what they're going to do about it. They got to get, I don't know, speed bumps or maybe put another stop sign at the corner of St. Clair and Park. That would be maybe a stop sign there would help to slow people down. But you hate to have stop signs all over the place. But that's what happens when you get a raceway. There are people living on Park Street. Remember, it's not a dead street. There's people living here, and they got to put up with this nonsense. These people racing up and down. So anyway, got it on my show, Tyro. Maybe somebody's listening out there on city councilor, maybe Lori or somebody, and they can bring it up. And I don't know if you have to sign a petition or something, maybe, and get it done. But yeah, I get it. I get it 100%. And the sad posting on Facebook Friday. Another icon bites the dust in Niagara Falls. That's right. Gale's Gas Bars sold to the highest bidder. After 57 years serving Niagara, the company has been sold to a numbered company in Mississauga owned by Jagdeep Binder. That's right, or Binder. Jagdeep Binder, maybe. It's probably not Binder, it's probably Binder. Jagdeep Binder. And that's it for Gale's. Not owned by the Gale family anymore. And, I think most businesses that are for sale in Niagara Falls are bought by Indian people. They're all Indian restaurants now. Maybe it's going to be Bob's Fresh Shawarma. I don't know. Could include a shawarma hut. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but they said they're going to keep the name for now. Gale's began in 1967 when Bob Gale Sr. purchased the Sunoco station at the corner of Thoroldstone Road and Montrose. You may remember it. And turned it into a Gale's Gas Bar, and it's still there, and it's the best performing one of all of them. Bob Gale Jr., now chairman of the Parks Commission and regional councilor, took over from Sr. in 1985 and expanded into trucking and adding more stations throughout the region. And if you notice, there are Gale's gas trucks on the road hauling diesel, petroleum products, and everything else. So, yeah, they haul their own gas. They got a fleet of trucks. And when Junior took a run at regional council and was elected, he handed the business over to his daughter, Jessica. And of course, the decision to sell was not an easy one after serving Niagara for 57 years. She made the decision, together with Bob Jr., to sell and ensured that all employees will retain their jobs at their current salaries. That was part of the bargain, part of the deal. The name will stay the same for now, but that will probably change in the future. At one time, there was a lot of independents like Gale's Gas Bars in Niagara Falls. Gale's hanging on and sticking around for 57 years. There's a lot of independents around that you saw. I remember Gunning's Gas, owned by the Gunning family out of Chippewa, I believe. They had Gunning gas stations over. You might remember the one at the corner of Thoroldstone Road and Dorchester, where they had it looked like a big pyramid with a big pyramid hanging up top there. And there was one where the Tim Hortons is at the top of Frederica Street. There was another Gunning's gas bar right there as well. I remember it well. There's also Souder Oil in Ray's Gas Bars, owned by the Hyde family, Ray Hyde, and he had that for a while. And that one was right over here where there used to be a Canadian Tire one on Bridge Street, right by the park there. and that used to be Ray's gas station. He had a few of them around town. And all gas stations back then, of course, 99.9% of them were full serve. Pull in, guy to wash your windshield, do the whole job up, and they also were part of a repair shop. My family, my dad, he used Jacoby Shell on the corner of Lundy's Lane and in Drummond Road on the northwest corner where the Pizza is now. There used to be a Shell station, and that's where we went for gas to that one there. He had a thing going with the Jacobys that owned it, and it was a Shell station. Pretty cool. When I was a kid, if I got the car, I just had to pull in there and top it off and went on my dad's account. Although back in those days, I mean, we didn't have cars. So, the odd time I would use the car, it would be very, very seldom that I would have access to a car. When we were kids, we never had cars. We walked to school every day and everything else. So yeah, there's a lot of independents in town, and probably people out there remember a lot more than I do. I just remember those ones, but I'm sure there were more. And most of them, like the one out in Stanford Center there, at the Town and Country Plaza, there was a big Shell station there where the Pizza is there too, as a matter of fact. And that was run. I can't remember who ran it, but a good friend of ours, Tony Notoriani, he worked there, and we'd always be up there. But I can't remember the name of the guy. I know Chopper would know. My buddy Kevin Mancuso, he'd know for sure. I can't remember Stanford Center, but yeah, Tony worked there, and we'd always be up there. The Gale family, they won't be forgotten. They've contributed so much to the city over the years, including the $1 million given to the city to support what is now known as the Gale Center in our four-pad arena. The time was right for the deal, they said. And, I thank them for the many years of serving Niagara Falls and the region. Good guy, Bob Gale. I know him well. So well, he calls me Taz. So that's a friend. My friends call me Taz. My enemies call me something else. But anyway, thanks to John Law for the great story, for the great article in the review. I always do a good job. Ray Spiteri, John Law, Allison Langley, Bill Sawchuk, and the other gang there. I can't remember all the other ones, but they do a great job. Subscribe to the review. You get the latest stuff. If you want to read more about the Gales, go there, and you can also probably Google it. Okay, let me get to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And you know what? When you want a pizza, here's my thing with pizza: consistency. I've gone to a lot of pizzerias, left with a pizza, thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, said this could be my new go-to. Just no consistency in the pizza. None at all. So when you find one that's consistent, you know what you're getting from time to time, then what you do is you tend to go there because you know you're going to get a good pizza. And my favorite, right now anyway, is Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. It's fantastic. The pizza comes out cooked to perfection. They use a blend of mozzarella and brick cheese, and also use the Mancini family recipe for the sauce and crust. Fantastic every time. They know how to make a pizza there, fresh toppings, but they're not just a pizza joint. No, 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 no. They have tremendous wings. Their wings are fantastic. They have steak and cheese poutine, regular poutine. They have panzerotti. They have a whole menu that folds out like this of goodies for everybody. Open till midnight during the week, 2 in the morning on weekends for your convenience. You can't beat it. My favorite, the bacon, the Canadian, it's called, with pepperoni, bacon crumble, and mushrooms. A fantastic pizza. That's the one I usually get. I just like it. And I'm a purist. I mean, a lot of times when I first have a pizza, I'll just do pepperoni because I want to see what the sauce tastes like and everything else. If you got a good sauce and a good crust and the ratios are right on the cheese and sauce, you can't lose. It's going to be a great pizza. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, the one I go to, 905-374-2222. Order yours today or go to petespizza.victoria.ca. Get it fresh. They use Skip, they use Dash, they use all those other services. Don't worry about it. You're going to get a great pizza, hot and fresh to your door. Support our sponsors. They support the city. They support the show. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, and appreciate all you that view in and tune into this wacky show of mine. Your city, your voice. So After a few years of nothing, the Niagara Parks Commission is looking to bring back the New Year's Eve show. Yeah, that's good news, everybody. Now, according to the review scribe, Ray Spiteri, David Adams, maybe it's Adams, whatever. It's Adam with an ES on the side. So he's the Niagara Parks Commission CEO, says that the parks is in discussions right now with the Hotel Owners Association. I think that's what the one headed by the Weasel. That Weasel that came to City Council crying. Doug Burrell, I think his name is. And they're my words, not Ray Spateri's. I call him the Weasel, and I got nicknames for everybody in this city. And Niagara Falls Tourism, he's getting together with Niagara Falls Tourism to see what they can put together for this year's New Year's Eve. Now, there hasn't been anything since 2019, and the COVID hoax, when Brian Adams headlined the show, was the last time they had one. Then the COVID hoax hit, and they never had any. Now, Bob Gale, chair of the NPC, said that the security was a big issue, especially these days with everything going on in the world, right? And when they host a major event, security's the toughie. And I know, we know. Remember the millions that were there here on Eclipse Day? The millions that flooded into the city? Neither do I. But they had snipers up on the lighting towers and the lighting building there, down the Lights on the Falls building. They had snipers up there from who knows where. They were calling cops in from all over because there's supposed to be 1 million people here. They didn't know what they were going to do. So we know all about security. It's tough. Now, he stressed that a lot of these things that were not considerations at one time are now paramount. Large gatherings of people attract the worst of society, would do harm to other people, and that is true. We see it a lot, as well as some musical acts just attract trouble. I wonder what acts that could be. He never mentioned what acts they are. I'm trying to think of what acts would attract trouble. Oh, well, you guys let me know in the comments. But we have seen acts attract trouble before, a lot of trouble. Shooting, stabbings, that kind of trouble. It's about acts and what kind of crowd they attract. I don't think the Doobie Brothers or Styx would attract the inherently gangster type of crowd, Bob. Pick your acts wisely. Pick your acts wisely if you're going to have a New Year's Eve party. Just get the right acts in there. Yeah, country. You're not going to have any trouble with country people. Hippie stuff. Hippies, they're all stoned. They don't want any trouble. Personally, I think they shut the parks down to vehicular traffic from the bottom of Cliff Hill to the Fallsview parking lot, with only walking and viewmobiles or similar shuttles allowed to run in that area anyway. I don't think that people should be allowed to drive down there or anything. So pick your acts wisely and don't allow people driving around down there. And I think they do stop it for New Year's Eve. There's just too many people there when they have something good going on. And that's smart. And I think as we get into the Niagara Power Station, that Toronto Power Generating Station they're refurbishing, and some of the other great stuff that Bob was talking about, I think that it should all be stuffed. I mean, it should all be stuffed into the pocket and got out of there. No more vehicular traffic. One elevated system called a monorail from Fallsview parking, where you get on it and it winds through, stopping at maybe at Duff, the Toronto Power Station, School of Horticulture, Rankin Table Rock, the Refectory Old Police Building in Clifton Hill, and just go all day back and forth for free. Come down, go around Duff, elevated system, doesn't get in the way of anything. Pedestrians, wind around, take that turn by the Toronto Power Station, have a stop there, crosses the road, has a stop there, then comes back across by the Rankin, stops there, and just goes right straight down through the park, close to the escarpment out of the way, and then ends up on Clifton Hill, where you get off and you wander around, and then you grab it back, and it just runs back and forth all day. Nice. Get rid of traffic. Have a free-flowing boulevard. You just stroll down the boulevard. Yeah, nice. But I mean, we look at the New Year's Eve show, and yeah, we do need a New Year's Eve show, and the mayor blew this one. Like he had it. He had the best New Year's show in Canada. How do you lose that? And with Keith Urban headlining the final one, only 50 or 60,000 people down there. Not the million for the eclipse. 50 or 60,000 people, the number one show in Canada. How can you possibly lose that? Well, arrogance. Let it slip away. That's what you got to put it off to. Roll the dice, roll snake eyes. Gambling that Global wouldn't pull the show. They'd never drop the show, the number one New Year's Eve show in Canada. They're not going to drop it. Yeah, we are. If you don't give us a few $1,000,000 here to help out, we are. We just can't afford it anymore. Never thought they'd pull it. They said, nope, we're not chipping in. You guys make enough money off it from advertising it. Well, Global pulled it, and they weren't bluffing. And I'm sure that Mayor Jim, being the marketing guy and everything else, said, oh, don't worry about it. If they pull it, we'll get CHCH. I'm good friends with them. I go up there every day, and I'm on the TV with them with my socks. And they said, no, we don't have the money. We're broke, too. We're rerunning I Love Lucy. Come on. Give us a break. We can't even afford our own programming because it costs too much. We got to rerun I Love Lucy and Hogan's Heroes. We don't have any money, Jimmy boy. Ooh, geez. Gee, Bob and Brian and Keith and Shelley Marriage and whatever the other names are there. What's that little one's name? The cute little girl, Battelle. Anyway, they said, no, we can't do it. Oh, geez. I guess we're screwed. Can't have a show anymore. So they bring in these, ham and eggers, and then it just died out at COVID. But personally, I think they should bring it back. I'd love to see them bring it back, but not cheesy stuff. I mean, let's bring them back some big names and really get this thing going again. Get some big names. These television stations will buy into it. You're going to have to help them, though. The Hotel Owners Association and the casino and everybody else down there, they're going to have to help out. I mean, this isn't free. These stations these days, they don't have a lot of money neither. You think they do, but this is Canada. I mean, CBC wouldn't even be in existence if it wasn't for the millions of dollars that the liberals give them, and they should shut that garbage down. But the left wing speak place. But I hope they bring it back. I'm wishing them all the best. Come on, Bob Gale and Dames, David Dames. I think his name is Dames. Let's get it going again. Come on, we're Niagara Falls. Jeez, if it was Vegas, there'd be no problem coughing up $1,000,000 to keep it going. Are you kidding me? You want to be a big shot in the big player, double tours and 26 million a year, and everything else. You got to play. If you want to play, you got to pay. I mean, come on. And the province will help out and everything. They want to do that too. So, I guess there was a debate. I never saw it, but there was a debate. Got to go to coachgo.ca and see the debate with only Tony Baldinelli, Andrea Kaiser, and Shannon Mitchell. Now, Tony, of course, is the PC candidate. Andrea Kaiser is the Liberal candidate. And Shannon Mitchell is the NDP candidate. Those three were participating. Nobody else was in there. There goes the cops. It was recorded, and you'll be able to watch it on Coach Go at your leisure, coachgo.ca. If you have Coach Go at your provider, it's going to be aired on Coach Go at specific times. You could tune in. So look at your guide for the dates that it's going to be on in time. But you know what? I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to watch it when I have time. But I want to ask Andrea Kaiser, this question. Your party had the power all along to drop the carbon tax, right? 10 years. They could have dropped it anytime they want to help Canadians. And especially after COVID, when we saw huge inflation, prices going up 30 to 40%, our taxes being run through the roof, our utilities going up, our food prices, our gasoline, everything was going up in price, right? And at that point in time, Doug Ford, he dropped the provincial part of the carbon tax. But Trudeau held on to this slush fund for his cronies. And at any time, the NDP could have brought that down. Pierre Poilievre put it on the table many times to bring down the government. They didn't go. So she's in cahoots, Shannon Mitchell, NDP. Now, the Liberals could have dropped this any time. Why did the Liberals not drop this tax until forced to by Pierre Poilievre? His Axe the Tax campaign is what started this. And all of a sudden, Carney, who was appointed prime minister out of nowhere, never held any position before, any elected position, he says he's going to drop it. And he drops it. I mean, they could have helped everybody through this big inflationary period after COVID and during COVID. People weren't working, businesses were shutting down, but they didn't. Now, all of a sudden, they're forced to, as a campaign, to short circuit PP's idea and actually steal it. And that's one question I would like to ask her. Why didn't your party take this off before? Why do we have to wait for PP to suggest it, and then you plagiarize him and steal his thunder? Well, I know why, and you know why. I want her to tell us why. I think that would be a great question. Well, have to, I don't know. Speaking of PP, former PM Stephen Harper has endorsed PP for prime minister. In a speech, he said he has worked with both candidates and knows them well. But he has to support Pierre Poilievre as the better candidate. Now, was it because he was a conservative? Well, that could be the case. But I think if he really thought Art Carney, Norton, was the better candidate, I think he would have just shut up, stayed out of it. If he didn't like PP or didn't think he could be the best candidate, I don't know about party. He's got no skin in the game now. I mean, so if he doesn't like PP, just stay out of it. Don't say anything. If he likes something, get in there and endorse him, and that's what he did. So I saw the endorsement. I thought it was great, but it's huge for PP, as Harper was pretty well respected when he was the prime minister. So pretty nice endorsement there, PP. Pretty nice endorsement. Okay, let's go down south for a minute. We're going to go back and forth between the south and the north because we're intricately tied together. And I see everybody in the States is blaming the tariffs and Trump for everything, even the stock market crash of 1929. He's doing the same thing as 1929. These tariffs are killing us. The markets are going down like crazy. I never looked at what they are today. They did come back to a 40,000. And, we'll see what happens with them. But the truth is, in 1929, it was not the tariffs that caused the crash. It was the Federal Reserve cutting the money supply. Tariffs were what was used to generate revenue for the country before 1913, when there was no income tax at all. There was no income tax. It was first installed on people's wages in 1913. All the revenue that came into the country was from tariffs, tariffing other countries for dealing with the United States. As a matter of fact, there's an this is crazy. Now, as we remember the Titanic that sank 113 years ago tomorrow, there's a theory that J.P. Morgan, the wealthiest man in the world at the time, wanted to install the Federal Reserve in the U.S., but other financial giants who were on the ship, John Jacob Astor IV, Benjamin Guggenheim, and Isidor Straus, they all died in the Titanic in 1912. And the year after, J.P. Morgan and company instituted the Federal Reserve. Privately owned, It's not a government agency. It's privately owned, and they print money for the U.S. and they loan the money to the U.S. So the U.S. says we need more money. Federal Reserve prints more money and puts it in the circulation. So they didn't want to install a central bank. J.P. Morgan did. After the sinking, the central bank was formed in 1913. So that's pretty interesting. And they're the ones who cut the money supply in 1929 and caused the crash. Now, J.P. Morgan had tickets to sail on the Titanic on that maiden voyage, but didn't board when it left Southampton on April 10th, 1912, citing an illness. He also had two huge lion statues removed from the cargo hold of the ship that were going to grace the front of his mansion in America. That same night, he claimed to be sick. He was, partying it up in Paris. How about that? But I digress. It wasn't the tariffs that caused the crash of 20. It was the Fed cutting the money supply by 30%. People were totally broke when the crash occurred. They couldn't get money. They couldn't get loans from anywhere to keep things going. The crash was by design, not by accident. Of course, when the businesses couldn't get the money, they went broke, and millions of people were faced with no jobs and no money, aka the Great Depression. Of course, this lasted through the end of the decade, and once World War II broke out, everything started to rev up again with the production of planes, ships, and armaments, boosting the economy with people working, women as well as men. They had to go to work because the men were all fighting in Europe. And once the war ended, the biggest surge in wealth of the US and Canada was seen, producing the baby boomer generation. Hey, so tariffs have always been around, and with the heady days after the wars, money was flush. The U.S. was with the Allies rebuilding Europe and Japan. Those days are long gone. America has to reindustrialize the country. Metals, plastics, technology, energy. Trump's tariffs are pro-growth in a way that has never been seen before. In America, 75 countries, including the European Union, have come to the table wanting to negotiate a new deal with Trump. And the only holdouts right now appear to be China and their proxy Canada. And now Canada and China want to come to the table too. I think that's inevitable. They're going to come to the table, and because he just slapped 145 or 200% tariffs on China. I mean, if they put more, he's going to put more. He's not going to stop. Chinese docks are full of containers. There's nowhere to go. All their goods are being manufactured, and they're sitting on the docks. And with that tariff, nobody wants them. So they're going to have to fold eventually. So Trump's doing it right. And don't think that the tariffs caused the Great Depression and we're going to have another one. Nope. Correction in the markets. They're going to go back up and they're going to be better than ever. Hang tight. Hold on. Don't do anything crazy. Don't sell anything. You only lose if you sell. When you hold, you never lose a dime. Okay, so let's get back to Canada here. The candidates are out in full swing with Pierre Poilievre promising that he will eliminate the federal sales tax on all Canadian-made automobiles. I like that. Boy, if you ever wanted to go out and get a car, that's nice. Your $40,000 car, you're going to save yourself what? I think the federal tax is 7%. 6% provincial, so 7% of 40,000, that's $2,800. Better in my pocket than theirs, right? Yeah. So I guess Hondas and Toyotas are some made in Canada. The other part plants are EV centric now. Nothing's being made. Ford, Stellantis, and VW have all mothballed their plants, waiting to sell off excess inventory. They built all these electric vehicles nobody wants. But yeah, they do that when he gets elected. That'd be awesome. And I want him to take it one step farther because I think this is what really POs me off. I'm telling you right now, what makes me mad is when I go buy a used car and I have to pay GST on that. That really makes me mad. It's already been paid for once, right? It's already been paid for once when the guy who bought the car. Now I'm buying it used and I got to pay it again. And the next guy's going to have to pay it again. And then the next guy's going to have to pay it again. How much blood do they want? No. Tony Baldinelli, if you're listening, tell PP to take it off of used cars too. That's the one that kills everybody. They can't understand it. They don't want it. Paying taxes on that. They already paid tax on that car. It's a ripoff. I sent an email to Tony Baldinelli. So give me a sign and tell Pierre to take off the federal tax on used cars. They don't have anything to do with each other, I guess, but I thought I'd mention it while I was emailing him. So what about you guys out there? You think they should take it off used cars too? I think they should. That's the biggest ripoff going. We've been getting burned by that for how many years now? Time to make the change. And we're going to stick on PP for a minute. Once I get back from talking, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to talk about my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. And you know, Hamel Machine Company has been around since 1948. And anybody who owns a business in this city, an industry in this city, will tell you how important small machine shops are. They're the ones who repair anything that breaks down in a business. And there's all kinds of things that break down every day, all kinds of machines, and they need fixing. Parts get broken. They might shear a tooth off a cog. They might shear a pin. They might break an axle. Who knows what they. But when they do that, where do they go? Right over here. They go to Hamel Machine Company because they can fix it. They'll weld it. They'll re-engineer it. They can reverse engineer it if you like. Excuse me. Doesn't matter. They can do it. And they don't only repair things metal. They have a 3D printer that can print a piece of plastic or nylon. Probably can even, excuse me. It probably can even reprint. Boy, I got this frog in my throat. Croak, croak. They probably can even in 3D print metal. I wouldn't doubt it. I have to ask Bob about that one. But they also have a water jet cutter to cut things out, pieces out they need. They do everything there. Lathing, fabricating, computer design, rebuilds, overhauls, custom and reverse engineering parts from samples, water jet cutters, 3D printers. They do it all there. And if little old me needs a set of gates for my backyard, I just mosey on down to Bob and I say, Bob, just send a guy out to measure it up, and they'll make custom gates for you for your backyard. Weld them all up, get them powder coated, do the whole thing. They do it all, and they're innovators, they're inventors. They help businesses run efficiently by making parts and products that work faster and cleaner and smoother. And they ship all over the world. They're not just Niagara Falls anymore. They ship all over the world. Unbelievable. Hamel Machine Company. You got to go to their website, hamelmachine.ca. Check out what they do. You'll be amazed at this little gem we have sitting in Niagara Falls since 1948 to help industry with all their needs, and you too. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Support our sponsors because they support the show and they do a lot of good in the city. Okay, so about PP, back to PP. Somebody said size matters. And if that's true, then the rally size for PP should give him a majority win. Yeah. But we all know one thing that matters. We know one thing. The only thing that matters is that those people get out. You can have tons of people at rallies, but unless they get out and put an X beside the name, his name, at the polling station, it means nothing. Yeah, I know. In this backward parliamentary system, we don't get to vote for our PM, and that's sad. Because I think if people could vote for PP, that there'd be no problems. He'd be able to win. But you know, when you get to your own riding, you got to look at the thing. And like me for the provincial, I just couldn't vote for the conservative candidate, even though I am conservative. I just couldn't do it. So, I mean, I don't mind Ford as much as don't like him as much as I used to. I would have given him my vote if I could vote for him, but I couldn't vote for the representative in Niagara Falls. So I think that's sad because a lot of people would vote for him, but maybe their rep isn't the one they want. I'm not sure that that sentiment for PP holds true riding by riding, especially in Ontario and Quebec. And the line is pretty well drawn right now. The East Coast is red. They're going to vote Liberal. The West Coast is blue. They're going to vote Conservative. And then you got Ontario and Quebec, and you don't know what the hell they're going to do. It could be a lot closer than people think. Personally, from what I see, I think Pierre Poilievre is going to win. And I'm hoping he wins a majority, but man, oh man, I'm not that confident. When Trump was running, I said he's going to crush Harris. Totally not qualified. He's the better guy. He's getting so many people at his rallies. There's no way she was going to win. And even in Niagara Falls here, I said, you know what? Gates is going to crush Newestig. She don't have a chance. And of course, that happened. But this one here with Fort Erie dropping out of the mix and having all liberal Niagara Lake, I mean, that's totally liberal. He only won the last election by 3,600. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of work to do. And anybody who supports conservatives have a lot of work to do to make sure they get out and vote. You got to have the turnout. You got to get out and vote. And that goes for the same riding in all of Canada. So, if you can go to all the rallies you want, but if you don't get out and vote, it means nothing. So it could be a lot closer than we think. I'm hoping that it's an illusion that the liberal media is playing on everybody, telling us that what's his name's ahead, Art Carney, Norton, is ahead when he's not. I think it's a bunch of baloney that he is. I guess can't wrap my head around people voting for liberal again. How can they do this after 10 years of these clowns? Like the guy said that of your comments said, I'm a liberal, but I can't vote liberal this time. They need to restructure and reassess what the people want. It's like the Democrats in the States, they still don't get it. They still don't get it. They're trying to stop Trump from deporting criminals and murderers. Like they don't get it. They're so on the wrong end of what the people want. It's not funny. Left-wing media, of course, isn't the only ones that are backing the liberals. Of course, the unions do, right? They back them because they get sweetheart deals. They get sweetheart deals, so they're going to be backing liberals. They get their way. They get what they want. Special interest groups all get what they want from the liberals. Although the conservatives are the ones that are pro-business, so I don't understand what they're doing. But here they are. In this case, Unifor. So dishonest. Story after story about the closing of the GM plant in Ingersoll, and everything they say points right to tariffs. That's because of nonsense. That's a bunch of baloney. That's what they don't tell the truth. Now, I didn't believe it for a second because we saw Stellantis, Ford, and we saw VW close down the plants and get rid of it because at the end of the day, right, nobody's buying EVs. The EV market is slow. All the tree huggers and climate change and global warming people have bought their EVs to save the planet, which they're not saving nothing. But they've already bought them, and now they're sitting on them, and then, it's going to be 10 years before they buy another car. When the batteries run down, they find out how much the batteries cost, they'll buy another car. But until then, here's what they are. Chooches. They're a bunch of chooches. Don't be a chooch. And so that's why they're closing the Ingersoll plant down for a little while. Because they're not selling any cars, and they're making these electric cargo vans or something there. Nobody wants them. As soon as I heard about that, that was the aha moment. Because I knew it wasn't because of tariffs. Now, the federal and Ontario governments, provincial governments, gave that plant $518 million last year to convert to making these electric cargo vans, which are sitting there nobody wants. Of course, like any other car manufacturer in North America, the market for EVs is dead. That's why they're not buying them. And that's why they're closing that Ingersoll plant down for a while. Not because of tariffs. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them lie to you. In the U.S., President Trump has dumped the new Green Deal from the left-wing radicals, told people to go up and buy the car they want. They're going to drill, baby, drill. So if you want a gas powered car, don't worry about fuel. Fuel prices are coming down. They're going to be good to drive. Stellantis, who just brought out the new Dodge Charger, an electric only. They went right to electric. Canceled the Challenger, brought out the Charger and electric. Right? They're turning their back on the EVs, the electric cars, and going back to their Hemi engines and ditching the all EV nonsense because it's not selling. Nobody wants them. Governments with their rules and regulations have ruined the auto industry, not Trump and tariffs. The reason all these car manufacturers went to EV was because of government mandates. They have to be all electric by 2035. So they started now. And when we see less regulation, less government in our lives, we're going to see that's the way to go. Gas powered cars are going to sell again. They're going to be back, and that's what people want. And like the guy said, he wants his rad engine. You don't want no electric motors. He wants a rad engine, that big block Chevy 454, blasting up the horsepower. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Now, speaking of Trump and tariffs, he's not fooling around with DEI and transgender stuff either. In Maine, the Department of Corrections put a man in a woman's prison because he claims he's a transgender. Now, this guy is 6'2", 245 pounds, and they're putting him in with women. And he's in jail for stabbing both his father and his mother to death. And just for extra bonus, he stabbed their pet dog, stabbed their pet dog to death too. That's the guy they're putting in with women who the guy claims he's a woman. And the Department of Corrections in Maine allowed him to be housed in the woman's prison. Well, if that's what they want to do, the feds, as proclaimed by Pam Bondi, Attorney General, said the federal government is pulling all non-essential funding from the DOC. The Department of Corrections is not going to get a dime until the situation is corrected. They're going to protect women in prison. They'll protect women in sports. They'll protect women throughout the country from this travesty. No more of that. So they can't stop the Department of Corrections in Maine. They make their own decisions on that for putting men in women's prisons, but they're getting no federal funding for it. They're on their own. And that's what they're going to do to all of them. So he's not letting this go. This DEI is dead and gone. Forget about it. And as we keep talking about Trump, he's reinstated the Roosevelt Reservation. Named after President Teddy Roosevelt in 1907, it's a strip of land 60 feet wide and 700 miles long that runs along the southern U.S. border in Mexico. By declaring this a buffer zone and reinstating it, Trump ordered the U.S. military to guard and defend it against illegals, guarding it against invaders. Now, because it's under military command now, with all the latest technology being used to protect the border, along with troops and armaments, any illegals that are caught in this buffer zone, they jump the wall and get in there, they're immediately handed over to the Border Patrol to be processed and sent back. Zero tolerance. So, yeah, he's got the military lined up now, taking care of this. And I mean, it was already down to like drop by 95% of what it was a year ago. And now it's going to be done to zero. It's going to zero. The military is patrolling with the latest technology and drones and everything. So no fooling around. The cartels, they want to start shooting it out. Well, now they got to take on the military, the U.S. military. So when I read this stuff, Trump's doing everything he promised to do. Every single thing. So if you don't like him, 80 million people voted for him to do this stuff, and he's keeping every promise. He's doing it all. Now, as he drops the hammer on millions of illegals in the U.S., telling them to self-deport before the authorities get to them and send them either home or to El Salvador, the numbers of refugees looking for asylum in Canada is increasing. And guess what? This idiotic country is going to let them in. They're going to let all these criminal gang members in. Guaranteed we're going to let them into this country. The government can't figure it all out. That they've received 20,000 claims in January and February alone to come into Canada by refugees. And that's not including people who have come into the country on bogus visas and everything else, and they've sought asylum. I can't even imagine what the diploma mills, like the one in the University of Niagara Falls, are part of those numbers. I mean, they're letting all kinds of people in with visas, and we've seen that 50,000 never even showed up for the first day of class. Now, that's not at the University of Niagara Falls. I don't know what the situation is there, but that's in Ontario or maybe even in Canada. So, yeah, they're going to be asking for asylum now. Man, we can't change this government soon enough. We got to get rid of this idiotic stuff, this craziness, lunacy, insanity. So, I mean, I don't know. We got to deal with this problem manifesting itself at the Canadian border as Trump throws all these criminals out of the USA. Now, over to Doge, and this is a good one. They've discovered a $2.5 million a year payment to Barry Soetoro, aka Barack Hussein Obama, for no reason. He's been getting $2.5 million a year since 2010 for a whopping $40 million, which they're written down in the books as royalties from Obamacare. Why is Obama, who was president, getting royalties from Obamacare? Well, it's over. The Dodge boys and Trump have put an end to it. But imagine that, $40 million. Unbelievable. Now you know. Now you know how two broke guys that lived in public housing, the White House, for 8 years accumulated vast amounts of wealth and owned 3 mansions, with the fourth being refurbished in Hawaii to the tune of $8 million. And the others, a Martha's Vineyard beachside mansion worth about $15 million, a home in Washington, D.C. worth about $8.1 million, and an apartment in Manhattan, and another residence in Chicago. Total value about $40 million. You wonder where the money came from when he made about $3.2 million over the 8 years he was president. That's all he made. But now they're worth $70 million. Him and Mike. Unbelievable. Super wealthy. 70 million. Not bad for a guy that had nothing before becoming president. And that's the way the loot rolls in the United States. And that's why Doge is on top of it. And Doge is on top of stuff in Niagara Falls, too. We got a list. Our Doge guys are on the street watching. Time is it? 1 o'clock. Oh, whoa, time's up. Holy man, that hour went fast. Well, you know what? There's lots more to talk about. Lots more tomorrow. We'll continue this discussion tomorrow, believe me, on Trash Talking Tuesday. But we got Trash Talking Tuesday tomorrow. Absolutely. On Wednesday, am I going to be happy or sad? Look for the score in the Chicago game tonight. Montreal don't beat Chicago. I'm not going to be very happy. Straight Talk Thursday, Good Friday. Friday's Good Friday. I will not be doing a show on Good Friday, so if you tune in live on the radio, you're not going to see a show. If you tune in on the video, you're not going to find a video. I am taking the day off. I'm taking the day off Good Friday. So other than that, we move right along as we're moving towards the end of April. We're halfway through, baby. Another 15 days, 14, 15 days here, and we're going to be through it. Then we get into May. The weather's starting to get nicer. Flowers are starting to come out. Everything's starting to get green. Yeah, you just love it. You got to love it. April showers bring May flowers. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Hamill Machine Company of Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, home of the 1995 tray of pizza on Wednesdays with 3 items. You can't beat it. Thursday, $9.69 for a pound of wings. Go get them. Tell them Paul sent you. Support our sponsors. Subscribe. 123 subscribers so far. 50, 60, 70, 80 views, but I know most of the viewers never subscribed. It costs you nothing. Come on, subscribe. It helps the algorithm and helps us get this show out. Oh, hit the subscribe button. Leave comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, and we're good to go. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is your city, your voice coming to you live from 4680Q Radio in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada on Chrysler Avenue. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the weather. We'll see you tomorrow at noon with Trash Talking Tuesday. And that's it. God bless you all. Have a great day. And we'll see you.